Look at this figure, dressed in rich silks and an oversized cloak that swallows his small frame. A sly glance thrown back over one shoulder. Mischievous, almost impatient, like someone who has somewhere better to be and cannot understand why you are still standing here. This is Cupid, and he is in a cemetery, which raises an immediate question. What is love doing in a place like this? Pull back, and the full painting comes into view. A young woman kneels beside a gravestone dressed entirely in black. No ornamentation, no color, just the deep, absolute black of someone who has decided that grief is now the shape of her life. Beside the stone, white lilies, cut, placed deliberately, recently. She has been here before, she will come back. She's not looking at the grave, she's looking at Cupid. And Cupid, barefoot on the cold cemetery path, wrapped in that absurdly vivid cloak, is looking at her. This is The Lure, painted around 1906 by the British artist Byam Shaw. And it is asking one of the most quietly devastating questions the painting has ever asked. How long are you allowed to grieve before life stops waiting for you? Byam Shaw was a British painter working in the shadow of the Pre-Raphaelites. That group of Victorian artists obsessed with symbolism, with medieval romance, with images that carried more meaning than they initially appeared to hold. Shaw inherited their instinct for layered imagery and their eye for the kind of beauty that makes you slightly uncomfortable. He was not a household name, he is still not, but this painting, small, quiet, almost overlooked, contains more emotional complexity than works 10 times its size. Now look at what Shaw has actually built inside this frame. Start with Cupid. That cloak is not his, it is far too large, pooling at the ground, swallowing his shoulders, trailing behind him on the path. He is wearing something borrowed, as if love in this context is trying on gravitas it has not quite earned. He is barefoot beneath it. No formality, no solemnity, no weight, just skin on cold stone. The audacity of something that does not know or does not care that this is sacred ground. And that glance back, half invitation, half dare, not cruel, not indifferent, but utterly unbothered by the fact that she is kneeling at her husband's grave, as if grief has a time limit that she has already exceeded, and Cupid has come to remind her. Now look at her. The contrast is almost violent. Where he is color and movement and forward motion, she is stillness, darkness, weight. Her entire body is oriented toward the stone, toward the name carved into it, toward whatever conversation she is still having with someone who can no longer answer. The white lilies beside the grave carry a double meaning Shaw would have known precisely. In the language of flowers, a language the Victorians took seriously, white lilies meant purity. But they were also the flower of funerals, of the dead, of the space between this world and whatever comes next. She has brought flowers that mean both devotion and farewell. Which one she intends, she may not know herself. Here's where the painting shifts. Look at the space between them. Cupid is already moving. He is not waiting for her answer. He is already walking the path, already leaving, already assuming she will follow. That confidence is not arrogance. It is something older and stranger than arrogance. It is the simple fact that love does not negotiate with grief. It just appears. On a cemetery path in borrowed silk, on a cold morning when you came only to lay flowers and leave. It appears and it looks back at you and it keeps walking. And the painting freezes the woman in the moment before she decides. She is not moved. She's still kneeling, still facing the stone. But the question has been asked, and Shaw refuses to answer it for her. He holds the frame open, keeps the tension alive, forces you to ask yourself what you would do. Because this is not really a painting about a widow. It is a painting about the specific guilt of wanting to be alive again after loss. The moment when grief, which felt like loyalty, starts to feel like a choice, and you're not sure you're ready to make it. That is the lure. Not Cupid, not the silk cloak, not even the promise of love. The lure is the permission to stop. Shaw gave this painting a title that tells you exactly what it is, and still managed to make it impossible to resolve, because the lure works on the viewer too. You want her to go, you feel guilty for wanting it, and then you wonder what that says about you. That is the mark of a painting that is doing something real. Have you ever felt guilty for being happy again after losing someone? Leave it in the comments. And if this is the kind of painting that stays with you, subscribe. There are more of these waiting. This print is available in Galleria 48. If you'd like it on your wall, the link is in the description, and every purchase goes directly toward keeping this channel going.